Rain hammers the windshield like it's settling old scores. Ethan Blake's knuckles are white on the steering wheel, not from nerves exactly, more from the weight of everything riding on tonight. The Grand Meridian Hotel rises before him, all glass and gold, and the kind of money that makes his chest tight. $950, 3 days. That's what the dispatcher promised when she called yesterday. Ethan had been under Mrs. Huang's sink, coaxing life from pipes that should have been replaced during the Reagan administration when his phone buzzed. Private client. Very particular. 3 days, $950 flat rate. You available? He'd done the math in his head. Sophie's school fees were due Friday. The electricity bill had a bright red final notice stamped across it. His car needed brake pads. He'd been nursing them for 2 months, praying they'd hold. I'm available. Now parked outside a hotel that probably charges more for 1 night than he makes in a month, Ethan's questioning everything. His white shirt is pressed within an inch of its life, because it's his only nice shirt, and it has to count. The black slacks hang loose. He lost weight after Rachel died, and hasn't had money to replace them. The sedan gleams from 3 hours of washing and detailing, because first impressions matter when you're pretending to belong in a world that would laugh you out the door if they knew the truth. On the dashboard, wedged against the speedometer, Sophie's second-grade photo grins at him. Gap-toothed. Fearless. So much like Rachel it hurts some days. You got this, Dad. That's what she'd said this morning, her small hand squeezing his as Mrs. Huang made breakfast in their cramped kitchen. The pretty lady's gonna love you. It's just a driving job, sweetheart. It's always just a job. Sophie had fixed him with those 2 wise eyes, 7 years old going on 70. Until it isn't. Smart kid. Too smart for her own good sometimes. Ethan checks his reflection one final time. Rehearses the script the dispatcher provided. Professional. Punctual. Available, but not invasive. Drive where directed minimal conversation unless initiated. His phone buzzes. The client's descending now. He steps into the rain. The hotel's golden doors slide open like a theater curtain, and she emerges. Ethan's breath catches, not because she's beautiful though she is. It's something else, something in the way she moves through the world like she owns it, and resents it simultaneously. Tailored black dress that probably costs more than his car payment. Heels that click against marble with the precision of a metronome. Dark hair pulled back so severely it looks painful, every strand obedient. But her face. God, her face. Beautiful, yes. But frozen, like someone carved a statue from ice and forgot to add warmth. Those pale blue eyes sweep the valet area with the assessment of someone who's been disappointed before and expects to be disappointed again. Every gesture controlled, every step calculated. Ethan opens the rear door, stands at attention like he's seen chauffeurs do in movies. Good evening, Mom. I'm your driver for the next 3 days. She stops. Those ice-blue eyes lock onto him. Travel from his face, checking for competence to his shirt, checking for professionalism to the car behind him, checking for adequacy. Finding him wanting, probably. That's the look he recognizes. The one that says, "You're not enough. You'll never be enough." Instead, she speaks. Her voice carries the temperature of a February morning. I don't appreciate chatty drivers. Just drive where I tell you. We'll get along fine. Each syllable precisely enunciated. The voice of someone who learned that distance keeps you safe. That warmth makes you vulnerable. Ethan recognizes it because he heard the same voice in his own head for 2 years after Rachel died. Don't feel, don't hope, don't risk, just survive. Then I'll just listen, Mom. Something flickers across her expression. Surprise, maybe. People probably try to charm her, win her over, prove they're worthy of her time and money. He just gave her exactly what she asked for. Space. She settles into the back seat. Phone already in hand, walls already up. Ethan closes the door gently, not too hard. Don't want to seem aggressive, not too soft. Don't want to seem weak, and walks around to the driver's side. Rain soaks through his shirt, immediately cold, seeping into his shoulders. Behind the wheel, he adjusts the rear-view mirror and catches her reflection. She's not looking at him. Already typing. Email after email, fingers flying across her phone screen with the efficiency of someone for whom every second counts. The interior smells like the new car scent air freshener he bought at the gas station, trying to mask the fact that this sedan has 157,000 miles and a transmission that slips in third gear when the weather's cold. Ethan starts the engine, pulls into Seattle traffic with the smooth confidence of someone who's driven every kind of vehicle in every kind of weather. It's one thing he's still good at driving. Everything else in his life might be falling apart, but he can navigate a city in the rain without thinking. Streetlights reflect off wet pavement like scattered diamonds. Neon signs blur past. The rhythmic thump of windshield wipers creates a hypnotic rhythm. In the back seat, his passenger's a machine. Email. Phone call brief clipped all business. More emails. The glow of her screen illuminates her face in the darkness, casting shadows that make her look even more isolated. Ethan focuses on the road, takes the route he mapped out earlier, avoiding the construction on 5th, cutting through the financial district where traffic flows smoother after business hours. He notices things. It's what he does. Notices when someone needs help, when something's wrong, when a situation requires attention. Notices the way she shivers slightly despite the sedan's heater running full blast. Without asking permission, without saying a word, Ethan reaches for the temperature controls, increases the heat by 3 degrees. In the rearview mirror, her typing slows. She glances up. Her eyes meet his in the reflection. Just for a second. Then she returns to her phone. But something's different. A subtle shift in the air between them. She noticed his noticing. They drive through rain-slicked streets. The city's alive tonight. Couples running between awnings, taxis, honking a street musician, packing up his guitar to escape the downpour, his case still open with a few scattered bills. Ethan wonders what his passenger sees when she looks out to these windows. Does she see the struggling city he does? The beauty mixed with desperation. The homeless man sleeping in the doorway of a closed bookstore covered in cardboard and stubborn hope. Or does she see something else entirely? A world that exists to serve her schedule, her needs, her carefully controlled life. His eyes drift to Sophie's photograph on the dashboard. That gap-toothed smile, those eyes that still hold wonder despite everything she's lost. You got this, Dad. He's got this. 3 days, $950. Just drive where she tells him. Don't talk too much, don't get attached, don't hope for anything beyond the paycheck that'll keep his daughter fed and safe. Simple. Except he catches her reflection in the rearview mirror again. She's staring at the photograph on his dashboard, at Sophie's gap-toothed smile. And for just a second so brief he almost misses it. Her ice-cold expression cracks. Her eyes soften. Her mouth trembles, like she's looking at something she lost, or something she never had. Then the walls slam back up. Phone, email, business. But Ethan saw it. That crack, that vulnerability she couldn't quite hide, and something in his chest tightens with recognition. He knows that look. He's worn it himself. The look of someone who's forgotten what warmth feels like. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. Ethan pulls up to the downtown office building, 30 stories of glass and steel, its lobby still lit despite the late hour. A Saturday night meeting, because apparently some deals can't wait until Monday morning. I'll be approximately 2 hours, she says without looking at him. Wait here. Yes, Mom. She opens the door herself before he can get out to do it, disappears into the building's revolving door, without a backward glance. Ethan sits alone in the running car, rain drumming on the roof, creating a cocoon of white noise. 2 hours. He pulls out his phone, dials home. Mrs. Huang answers on the second ring. She's asleep. Finally. Argued for 30 minutes about waiting up for you. Thanks for staying with her. I owe you. You owe me nothing. Mrs. Huang's voice carries the matter-of-fact warmth of someone who's been a neighbor for 5 years and understands what it means to raise a child alone. That child is a blessing. Now focus on your work. Make that money. Ethan hangs up, stares at the building where his passenger disappeared. His mind drifts dangerous territory. Rachel. God, he thinks about Rachel. 3 years and it still ambushes him. Walking past the pharmacy where she picked up her prescriptions, hearing a laugh that sounds like hers, the smell of vanilla because she always wore that perfume he bought her for their 5th anniversary, the last good one before everything went to hell. Ovarian cancer. Stage 4 by the time they caught it. The doctor had used words like aggressive and advanced and limited options, but Ethan only heard the subtext. Your wife is dying and there's nothing we can do. 18 months of fighting. 18 months of hope and devastation, and hope again. Watching the woman he loved disappear piece by piece, while their 4-year-old daughter tried to understand why Mommy couldn't play anymore, why Mommy was always tired, why Mommy's hair fell out in clumps. The medical bills buried them. Even with insurance, the experimental treatments, the specialists, the desperate last-ditch efforts, it all added up to a mountain of debt that still keeps Ethan awake at 3 in the morning, calculating numbers that never add up right. He'd sold the mechanic shop he'd spent 10 years building, sold their house in the decent neighborhood with the good schools, moved into the 2-bedroom apartment in an area that's transitioning, which means cheap rent and sirens at night, and Sophie learning to sleep through gunshots. But Sophie has a home, food, school. That's what matters. His phone buzzes. Sophie's face fills the screen, a photo from last week's park visit, holding a dandelion, making a wish. What did you wish for, he'd asked. Can't tell, or it won't come true. But her expression had said everything. She'd wished for the same thing she always wishes for things to get easier, for her daddy to stop looking so tired, for a family that feels whole again instead of fractured. Ethan swipes away the photo, his throat tight. Movement catches his eye. A town car pulls up, disgorging a man in an expensive suit. Another late meeting. Another person whose time is too valuable to waste on normal business hours. Is that what his passenger's life looks like? Meetings at midnight. Emails that can't wait. A world where sleep and human connection come second to the next deal, the next acquisition, the next victory. It sounds exhausting. It sounds lonely. Ethan's about to check the time when the building doors open. She emerges. 2 hours and 3 minutes. Punctual with a margin for elevator wait time. But she looks different now. The Ice Queen facade has cracks. Her shoulders sag slightly, not much, but enough that someone paying attention would notice. There's a smudge of fatigue under her eyes that even perfect makeup can't quite hide. Her walk is less conquering CEO, more woman carrying weight that's getting too heavy. Ethan's out of the vehicle before thinking about it. Opens the door, offers his hand to help her in. She doesn't take it, but she nods acknowledgement. Progress, maybe. She slides into the back seat, sits there in silence, doesn't pull out her phone, just sits. Ethan returns to the driver's seat, starts the engine. The Grand Meridian, ma'am. A long pause. Then so quietly he almost misses it. Yes, he pulls into traffic. The rain's lighter now, a soft mist that blurs the streetlights into halos of gold. They drive 3 blocks in silence. Then, long meeting. Ethan glances in the rear-view mirror. She's looking out the window, not at him. He didn't ask about the meeting. Didn't say anything. But she wants to talk. Needs to, maybe. I apologize if I overstepped, Mom. You didn't. Another pause. Her reflection in the window looks tired. Vulnerable. They're all long. The meetings. They blend together after a while. Same faces, same negotiations, same performance. Ethan doesn't know what to say to that. He's never been in a business meeting in his life. His negotiations happen in living rooms and garages, discussing prices for fixing things people need fixed. They pass a closed diner. A homeless man sleeps in the doorway covered in cardboard and hope that tomorrow might be different. Your daughter, she says suddenly. The photo? What's her name? The question catches Ethan off guard. He glances at the dashboard at Sophie's smiling face, then back at his passenger's reflection. Sophie. She's 7. Smart as a whip. Wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. Why a veterinarian? She says animals deserve people who understand their pain, that sometimes creatures can't say what hurts, so someone has to learn their language. He pauses. Lost her mother 3 years ago. I think that's part of it. Understanding suffering when words aren't enough. In the mirror, something shifts in her expression. Not pity. Something deeper. Recognition, maybe. That's remarkably empathetic for a 7-year-old. She learned empathy early. The words slip out before Ethan can stop them. Too much information. Too personal. But she's looking at him now. Really looking. How did she learn it early? Ethan's hands tighten on the wheel. He could deflect. Change the subject. Maintain the professional distance she specifically requested. But something about the way she asked genuine curiosity without pity makes him answer honestly. Watching her mother fight cancer. Watching her lose. The silence that follows feels different from the professional distance of earlier. This silence carries weight. Shared understanding. I'm sorry. 2 words. But they sound genuine. Like she knows what those words mean. 3 years ago, Ethan continues surprising himself. Some days it feels like yesterday. Other days it feels like a different lifetime. My mother died when I was 9. Also cancer. Ethan's eyes find hers in the rearview mirror. For a moment, they just look at each other. 2 strangers connected by the particular devastation that only cancer brings. The slow erosion. The false hopes. The final surrender. I'm sorry, too, Ethan says quietly. She nods, returns her gaze to the window. But something's changed between them. Some invisible wall has developed the smallest crack. They drive the rest of the way in a different kind of silence. Not the cold, professional distance from before. Something softer, more human. When Ethan pulls up to the Grand Meridian, she doesn't immediately get out. Tomorrow, 7 a.m. I have breakfast meetings. Yes, Mom. And... She hesitates. Thank you. For listening. I said I would. She almost smiles. Almost, then she's gone, disappearing into the hotel's golden lobby. Ethan sits in his car watching until she's safely inside. Then he drives home through the quiet city thinking about ice queens and gap-toothed little girls and the way grief creates a language only fellow survivors understand. When he gets home, Mrs. Huang is dozing on the couch, her knitting in her lap. The apartment smells like the dumplings she made for Sophie's dinner, the kind Rachel used to make teaching Mrs. Huang the recipe 2 months before she died, knowing someone would need to feed Sophie the foods she loved. How was it, Mrs. Huang asks, blinking awake? Professional. Just professional. Her eyes sharpen. The way you say it makes me think she's more than just a client. I've known her for 4 hours. Sometimes 4 hours is enough to recognize something. Mrs. Huang stands gathering her knitting. You're Rachel you knew in 4 hours. This isn't like that. Maybe not, but something happened tonight. I can see it in your face. Ethan doesn't answer, just pays Mrs. Huang. Thanks her watches her shuffle back to her own apartment down the hall. Then he stands in Sophie's doorway, watching his daughter sleep. She's tangled in her sheets, the stuffed elephant clutched to her chest. Rachel bought that elephant 4 birthdays ago, its fur matted now, one eye missing, but Sophie refuses to sleep without it. Day 1 down, Soph, he whispers. 2 more to go. But as he climbs into his own bed, staring at the ceiling where water stains map out continents of poverty, Ethan can't stop thinking about pale blue eyes that cracked just long enough to show the loneliness underneath. Can't stop thinking about a woman who thanked him for listening when listening was the easiest thing in the world. Can't stop wondering what her story is, and why he cares so much already. Morning comes too early. Ethan's alarm screams at 5:30 a.m. He silences it. Lies in bed for 30 seconds of precious stillness, then forces himself up. Sophie's already awake, sitting at their small kitchen table with a bowl of off-brand cereal and a library book about dolphins. The apartment's quiet except for the hum of the ancient refrigerator and the muffled argument happening in the unit above them. Morning, sweetheart. She looks up, evaluates him with those 2 wise eyes. You look tired. I'm good. Liar. Sophie, Mrs. Huang says lying about being tired just makes you more tired. She returns to her book, spooning cereal methodically. Is the pretty lady nice? Professional? Quiet? Did she like you? It's not about liking Soph. It's about doing the job well. Sophie closes her book with the deliberate care of someone making a point. Daddy, jobs turn into more than jobs sometimes. That's how you met Mummy. She brought her car to your shop. That was different. Why? Because Rachel had been warm from the start. Because she'd laughed at his terrible jokes and didn't mind when he got grease on her jacket. Because she'd looked at his oil-stained hands and saw someone worth loving instead of someone to be embarrassed by. This client is ice. Beautiful, untouchable ice, but even ice melts sometimes. Ethan shakes the thought away. Finish your breakfast. Mrs. Huang's taking you to school. I know. I already packed my lunch. She grins, showing that gap in her teeth. Made you one too. PB and J. The good jelly, not the cheap stuff. His throat closes. Thanks, sweetheart. You're welcome. She hops down, kisses his cheek, grabs her backpack. Be nice to the pretty lady, okay? She probably needs it. Then she's gone, leaving Ethan alone with his coffee and thoughts he shouldn't be having about a client. The Grand Meridian's valet recognizes him this time, nods as Ethan pulls up. Early start, breakfast meetings, rough. The valet kid can't be more than 22, hands him a coffee. Still hot, on the house. You look like you need it more than I do. Thanks. Ethan sits in the sedan, sipping coffee that tastes like actual heaven instead of the regret-flavored sludge he makes at home waiting. At exactly 7 a.m. she emerges. But today she looks worse. The perfect facade is cracking. Her makeup's flawless, her navy dress immaculate. But there are shadows under her eyes that suggest she didn't sleep. Her shoulders carry tension that looks painful, like she's bracing against weight that never lets up. She slides into the back seat. No greeting. Ethan hands her a bottle of water, one of the 3 he keeps in a small cooler. Morning, ma'am. Where to Riverside Bistro? He pulls into traffic, watching her in the mirror. She's not on her phone, just staring out the window like she's seeing something far away, or trying not to see something close. 3 blocks pass in silence. Then, when did you last eat? She startles like she forgot he was there. What breakfast? Have you eaten? I had coffee. That's not food, ma'am. Her eyes snap to his in the mirror. Sharp. Defensive. Are you my driver or my nutritionist? Just someone who knows you can't negotiate deals on an empty stomach. How do you know they're deals? Lucky guess. Something flickers across her face. Not quite a smile, but close. I'll eat at the meeting. Will you, though? Or will you be too busy impressing potential investors to actually put food in your mouth? She stares at him. Ethan waits, hand steady on the wheel, expression calm. This is dangerous territory, crossing the line from professional driver to someone who gives a damn. But he can't help it. He's seen this before, people so focused on performance, they forget basic human needs. He did it himself for 6 months after Rachel died. There's a diner 3 blocks from Riverside, he offers carefully. Rosie's. Best breakfast in the city. Real food. Won't make you late, and you'll actually have energy for whatever you're negotiating. I don't go to diners. Maybe you should. Long silence. He can see her weighing it, annoyed at his presumption, but also maybe intrigued. Or hungry enough to consider it. Fine. 20 minutes. But if you make me late, you'll fire me. Understood. He changes course, heading toward the east side, where rent's cheaper and food's better because the people making it actually care. Rosie's diner sits on a corner that's seen better decades. Chrome exterior dulled by weather. Red vinyl booths visible through steamed windows. A neon sign that flickers. Open 24 hours, the 4, blinking like Morse code. His passenger looks at it like he just suggested eating garbage from a dumpster. Trust me, Ethan says. I don't trust easily. Then trust that I need this job too much to waste your time. She considers this, nods once. Inside, the smell hits immediately. Bacon. Coffee. Hash browns sizzling on a griddle that's been seasoning since Truman was president. That particular scent of a place that's been cooking breakfast for 40 years and knows exactly how to do it right. Mismatched mugs, some that say I love Seattle, others advertising businesses that went under in the 90s. Checkered floor worn smooth by countless work boots and tired feet. Formica counters with patterns that haven't been in style since Ethan was born. And Rosie herself, 60-something, with hair dyed an impossible red and a smile that could warm the coldest November morning. Ethan. She's around the counter before he can say hello, pulling him into a hug that smells like vanilla and coffee and home. Where you been, boy? 2 weeks without a visit. Working, Rosie. You know how it is. Too hard. That's how it is. She releases him, turns to his companion. Her shrewd eyes take everything in the expensive clothes, the defensive posture, the exhaustion poorly hidden. And who's this gorgeous creature? His passenger stands frozen, clearly unaccustomed to being hugged by strangers or called gorgeous by women in their 60s. This is Miss Ashford, my client. Victoria, this is Rosie. She saved my life after Rachel died. Rosie's expression softens immediately. She reaches out, takes Victoria's hand in both of hers, weathered, strong, warm. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry about Rachel. She was a light, that one. To Victoria. This man, one of the good ones. Fed him and that sweet baby girl for 6 months when things were dark. Never asked for a penny. I tried to pay Ethan protests. And I refused. That's what humans do for each other. We feed the hungry. She pats Victoria's hand. You're the fancy client, Yes. Good. He needs someone who sees him proper. Not just what he can do, but who he is. She leads them to a corner booth, the one with the least ripped vinyl. Now sit, both of you. I'm bringing the special, and I don't want to hear arguments. They sit, across from each other, suddenly more intimate than the professional distance of the car. Victoria looks uncomfortable, like she walked into the wrong world and doesn't know the language or the customs. You didn't have to tell her about Rachel, she says quietly. Rosie was there. She knows. Still. That's personal. You told me about your mother last night. That was different. How? She doesn't answer, just fidgets with the sugar packets pink, blue, yellow, white, creating patterns on the worn formica. Rosie returns with coffee, the real stuff. Dark and rich, and smelling like salvation, and sets down 2 plates that overflow. Eggs, bacon, hash browns with onions, pancakes with butter melting into golden pools, toast that's actually toasted, not burned, not pale, but perfect. Victoria stares at the plate like it's a foreign object. "When's the last time you ate real food?" Ethan asks. "I eat. Coffee and salad don't count. I'm fine. You look exhausted." Her eyes snap to his. "Excuse me, not an insult, an observation. You look like someone who hasn't slept, hasn't eaten, hasn't stopped moving long enough to breathe. You don't know anything about my life." "You're right. I don't." Ethan takes a bite of eggs, perfect, fluffy, seasoned, just right. "But I know what running yourself into the ground looks like. I did it for 2 years after Rachel died. Worked 3 jobs, barely slept, forgot to eat. Thought if I just stayed busy enough, the grief couldn't catch me." He gives her space to process. "Did it work?" she asks finally. "No. Just made me sick. Ended up in the ER with exhaustion and dehydration. Sophie found me collapsed in the bathroom. She was 5. Victoria's face pales. She called 911 herself. Knew how because I'd taught her for emergencies. Never thought she'd need to use it for me." He pauses. "Terrified her. After that I learned, you can't help anyone if you destroy yourself first. Basic oxygen mask principle. Put yours on before assisting others." He pushes the plate slightly toward her. "Try the pancakes." Rosie makes them from her grandmother's recipe. Life-changing. Victoria hesitates, then picks up her fork. Takes 1 bite. Her eyes close. For just a second, the Ice Queen disappears entirely, replaced by a woman experiencing pleasure so simple and pure, it's almost painful to watch. Like she'd forgotten food could taste like anything except fuel. "Okay," she admits, opening her eyes. "You were right." Ethan grins. "I'm right about a lot of things. Don't push it." But she's almost smiling. The corners of her mouth lifting despite herself. They eat in companionable silence. Rosie refills coffee without asking. The diner fills with morning regulars, construction workers, nurses ending night shifts. A cop who waves at Ethan and gets a nod back. Victoria watches everything. Studies the people, the interactions, the casual warmth that exists in this space. Rosie teasing the cop about his new haircut, the construction workers arguing good-naturedly about the Seahawks, the nurse who looks dead on her feet getting a free slice of pie because Rosie knows she pulled a double. "You come here often," Victoria observes. "Whenever I'm in the area. Good food, good people. Rosie's grandkids are in Sophie's school. We look out for each other." That sounds nice. The wistfulness in her voice makes Ethan's chest tighten. "You don't have that. People who look out for you. I have employees, associates, business partners. That's not the same. No. Quiet. Honest. It's not." They finish breakfast. Victoria actually clears her entire plate, every bite of eggs, every piece of bacon. 3 pancakes that would have been unthinkable an hour ago. Rosie beams when she collects the dishes. "Look at that. A proper breakfast. You bring her back Ethan. Anyone who appreciates my cooking is welcome any time." Outside, the morning's bright. Rain-washed and clean. Seattle doing its November thing one day. Storm next day, crystalline. Victoria pauses before getting in the car, looks back at the diner like she's memorizing it. "Thank you," she says, "for bringing me here. You needed real food. I needed—" She stops. Tries again. "I haven't sat down for a meal like that in months, maybe years. I forgot what it felt like. What did it feel like?" She meets his eyes. Human. Something passes between them. Some understanding that transcends driver and client, wealth and poverty, ice and warmth. A moment where two people see each other, really see each other. "We should go," she says quietly. "I have a meeting." "Right." But as Ethan drives her to Riverside Bistro, something's different. She's not on her phone. She's watching the city pass, really seeing it. The mom pushing a stroller, the old man feeding pigeons, the barista through the coffee shop window laughing at something a customer said. Small moments of humanity she'd been missing while staring at screens. And when they arrive, she turns back before getting out. "Ethan. That's your name, right? Not just driver." "Yes, ma'am, thank you." She pauses. "For listening. For the breakfast. For..." She struggles for words. "For treating me like a person instead of a position." Then she's gone, disappearing into her meeting. But Ethan sits in the car, his heart doing something stupid. Something dangerous, something that feels uncomfortably like hope. Day 2 begins with rain again. Not the angry hammering from yesterday, but a soft, persistent drizzle that turns the world grey and introspective. The kind of rain that makes you think about things you'd rather not think about. Ethan picks up Victoria at Eta Mare. She's in the lobby, already laptop bag over one shoulder phone pressed to her ear, nodding at whatever the person on the other end is saying. She sees him through the glass, holds up one finger. "Wait." He waits, watches her through the glass doors. She's wearing a different suit today, charcoal grey. Still expensive, still perfectly tailored. But her hair's different, not pulled back quite so severely. Softer somehow, like maybe she spent 30 seconds less on armor this morning. She ends the call, strides toward the car. "Morning," she says, climbing into the back seat. "Morning, ma'am. Where to Mountain View Resort. Approximately 3 hours north. I have investor meetings all afternoon." "Yes, ma'am." He pulls into traffic, heading for Highway 2 that cuts through the Cascade Mountains. It's a beautiful drive when you have time to appreciate it. Winding roads, autumn trees ablaze with color views that people pay good money to see. Victoria's on her laptop immediately, typing reviewing documents, the occasional call where she negotiates numbers that make Ethan's yearly income look like loose change found between couch cushions. He focuses on driving. The roads demanding sharp curves, steep grades, occasional patches of fallen leaves made slick by rain. An hour passes, then another. Victoria's been working the entire time, barely looking up. Her posture grows more tense with each call. The way she rubs her temple suggests a headache building. When's the last time you looked at something beautiful?" She glances up, confused. "What?" "Out the window. The trees, the mountains. When's the last time you just looked at something beautiful without trying to monetize it or schedule it or negotiate with it?" She stares at him like he's spoken in a language she doesn't understand, then slowly turns to look out to the window. They're cresting Stevens Pass. The view opens up valley below, mountains rising in the distance, trees painted gold and crimson and amber by autumn's hand. The rain stopped here, replaced by mist that clings to the peaks like something from a fairy tale. Victoria's breath catches audibly. "It's beautiful," Ethan finishes. "And it doesn't cost anything. Doesn't require a meeting or a presentation or a quarterly report. Just exists." She stays quiet, watching the landscape unfold. 15 minutes pass without her touching her laptop. Then, "I used to love drives like this." Her voice is different, softer. The ice melting just slightly. "When I was little, before my mother died. She'd take me on road trips every summer. No destination, just driving. She'd say the world was too big to experience from boardrooms and airports. Smart woman. She was. Victoria's reflection in the window looks younger suddenly. Vulnerable. My father called her impractical. A dreamer. Said dreams don't build empires. Maybe not, but they build lives worth living. Victoria's eyes find his in the rearview mirror. Hold there for a long moment. Then her phone rings. The spell breaks. She answers, returns to business mode, and the moment's gone. But something lingers. Some small seed of connection that's been planted. Another hour. The road winds higher. Tighter curves. Denser trees blocking what's left of the sun. Ethan notices it first. A sound. Wrong. Grinding metal where there shouldn't be grinding metal. He eases off the gas, listening with the ear of someone who spent 10 years diagnosing car problems by sound alone. There. Again. Deeper now. More insistent. Is something wrong? Victoria's alert immediately, laptop closed. Not sure yet. The sound gets worse. A shriek of protesting machinery that makes his stomach drop. Then the engine cuts out. Ethan guides the sedan carefully to the shoulder as power steering fails and the car becomes 2 tons of dead weight fighting his control. They roll to a stop about 50 yards from a scenic overlook that would be beautiful if he had time to appreciate it. Rain's picking up again. Of course it is. What happened? Victoria's voice carries an edge of panic she's trying to hide. Timing belt, probably. Snapped. Ethan's already on his phone calling the service. Yeah, it's Blake. I'm on Highway 2 mile marker 87, about 40 miles from Mountain View Resort. Timing belt failure. How long for a tow? He listens. His expression doesn't change, but Victoria sees his jaw tighten slightly. 2 hours. Understood. Thanks. 2 hours, Victoria checks her watch. Expensive. Swiss probably costs more than Ethan makes in 6 months. My meeting's in 2 hours. These investors flew in specifically for this presentation. If I'm late. I know. I'm sorry. Can't you call someone else? Surely there's another. Mom, we're on a mountain. There's one tow service that covers this area. Everyone else is 2 to 3 hours away minimum. This is the best option. She presses fingers to her temples. The headache she's been fighting all morning just got worse. This is unacceptable. These investors, do you have any idea how much money is riding on this meeting if I blow this because of a timing belt? I know, and I'm sorry. But unless you can make timing belts repair themselves through sheer force of will, we're stuck waiting. Don't get smart with me. I'm not, I'm being honest. They sit in tense silence, rain drumming on the roof, temperature already dropping as the heater dies, the car getting colder by the minute. Ethan watches Victoria through the mirror. She's working through scenarios in her head, probably calculating costs of missed meetings, angry investors' blown opportunities. Her fingers fly across her phone, texting someone trying to salvage this. Then he makes a decision. Or I could fix it. What the timing belt? I can do a temporary patch. Get us to the resort. Won't last long term, but it'll hold for today. You can fix it. I was a mechanic for 10 years. Built my own shop from nothing before. He trails off. Before. Yeah, I can fix it. Probably. Probably I can fix it. Definitely. How long? 45 minutes. Maybe an hour if it's worse than I think. That's still cutting it close. It's better than 2 hours waiting for a tow that might not even come if the weather gets worse. Victoria weighs this. Nods sharply. Do it. Ethan grabs his worn jacket from the trunk, the one with paint stains and a rip in the sleeve that Sophie keeps offering to sew, but he won't let her because it still works fine. Along with it, the toolkit he never goes anywhere without. Years of poverty taught him always be prepared to fix things yourself because paying someone else is a luxury you can't afford. He steps into the rain. It's cold. November in the mountains cold. The kind that seeps into your bones and makes you question life choices. Under the hood, he assesses the damage. Yeah. Timing belt. Snapped clean through, probably from age and cheap manufacturing. The kind of thing that happens when you can't afford preventive maintenance. He's got a spare in the trunk, not the right size, but he can make it work. Has to. Because he needs this job. Because Sophie needs those school fees paid. Because... He glances at the car. Through the rain-streaked windshield, he can see Victoria watching him. She's leaned forward, hands on the back of the front seat, eyes tracking his every movement. Not with impatience, with something else. Curiosity, maybe. Or concern. Like she's seeing something she didn't expect. Ethan returns to work. His fingers are already numb from cold. Grease and rain mixing on his hands, making everything slippery. The belt's corroded, worn through by time and miles and neglect. He patches it carefully. Not perfect, but functional. Enough to get them there. 20 minutes pass. 30. The rain gets worse. November showing its teeth. Ethan's jacket is soaked through. His shirt underneath plastered to his skin. Water running down his neck into his eyes, making everything harder. But he doesn't stop. Doesn't complain. Just does what needs doing because that's what you do. You fix what's broken. You make it work. You don't whine about cold or discomfort when someone's counting on you. Rachel used to tease him about it. My hero, she'd say, laughing when he fixed her car or repaired something in the house. What would I do without you? Hire someone, probably. No. I'd sit in a broken world and miss you. God, he misses her. Misses her laugh. Her warmth. The way she made everything feel possible even when it wasn't. Ethan Victoria's voice cuts through the memory. He looks up. She's halfway out of the car, rain already soaking her expensive suit, her perfect hair falling into her face. Are you okay? Fine. Almost done. You've been out here for 40 minutes in freezing rain. It's not that cold. You're shaking. He is. Didn't notice until she said it. Just need 5 more minutes. Victoria stares at him for a long moment. Then, without a word, she grabs her jacket from the back seat. Designer probably cost more than his monthly rent, and holds it over his head like an umbrella. You don't have to. Shut up and fix the car. Her voice is sharp, but her hands are gentle, holding the jacket steady, despite rain soaking her own hair, her suit, her perfect facade, washing away with each cold drop. They stand like that, him working, her shielding. 2 strangers in the rain, connected by necessity, and something neither can quite name. There. Ethan straightens, holding up the old belt. Got it. Should hold to the resort. Should will. I'm good at what I do. Victoria's looking at him differently now, not like a driver, not like hired help, like someone who just spent 45 minutes in freezing rain fixing a car without complaint, like someone who deserves to be seen. Thank you, she says quietly. Just doing my job. No, this is beyond your job. This is... She struggles for words, mascara running slightly from rain, her armor completely gone. When was the last time someone in my life did something hard without expecting reward? Ethan meets her eyes, rain running down both their faces, close enough to see the crack in her armor widening into something that might be real. Maybe you've been surrounding yourself with the wrong people. Maybe I have. They stand there, rain pouring, something electric in the space between them that has nothing to do with professional boundaries and everything to do with 2 people seeing each other for the first time. Then Ethan clears his throat. We should go. You've got a meeting. Right. Yes, the meeting. They climb back into the car, both soaked, both trying to pretend something didn't just shift between them. Ethan starts the engine. It catches, runs rough, but functional good enough. Victoria hands him a towel from her bag. For your face. You're covered in grease. Thanks. As they drive the final stretch to Mountain View Resort, Victoria makes her calls. Apologizes for delay, promises she's 15 minutes out. Her voice is back to business mode, but between calls her eyes drift to Ethan, to his still wet hair, his grease-stained hands on the wheel, the quiet competence with which he navigates these mountain roads. When they finally pull up to Mountain View Resort, all glass and luxury and mountain views that rich people pay thousands per night to experience, it's 11:52. 8 minutes to spare. "I'll be here," Ethan says. "It'll be hours. The meeting's dinner with investors. Probably not until midnight. I'll be here." She gathers her things, pauses before opening the door. "Ethan Maham, you could have told me you were a mechanic when I first hired you. Could have mentioned you had skills beyond driving. You hired me to drive. That's what I'm doing. But you're more than that." He meets her eyes in the mirror. "We're all more than what people see first. Takes time to notice the rest." She nods slowly. "Yes, it does." Then she's gone, disappearing into the resort. Ethan sits alone in the car, wet and cold and somehow lighter than he's felt in 3 years. Because someone saw him, really saw him. Not just what he could do for her, but who he was underneath. Midnight finds Ethan still waiting. The resort's employee parking lot is quiet. Most staff have gone home. Just security making rounds, and one exhausted driver sitting in a sedan with 157,000 miles and a temporarily patched timing belt that won't last the week. His phone buzzes. "Sophie." He answers immediately. "Hey, sweetheart. You should be asleep." Couldn't sleep. Her voice is small, young, vulnerable in ways she usually hides. Bad dream. His chest tightens. "About Mommy, yeah." Silence. Then, "I dreamed she was calling me, but I couldn't hear her voice anymore, like I forgot what she sounded like. Daddy, I can't remember. I'm trying really hard, but I can't remember." "Oh, Soph, it's fading, isn't it?" Her voice. "Sometimes I try to remember exactly how she said, 'I love you,' and I can't. It's just gone." Ethan's throat closes. Because she's right. Rachel's voice is fading for him, too. The exact pitch, the way she laughed, the sound of her saying his name in the morning, it's blurring like old photographs left in sunlight. "I miss her," Sophie whispers. "Me too. Sweetheart, every single day. But you have the pretty lady now. She's just a client, Soph. But you like her. I barely know her. That's not what I asked." Smart kid, too smart. It's complicated. That's adult for yes, but I'm scared. Ethan laughs despite everything. "When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You're just noticing now because you're distracted by the pretty lady." They talk for another 10 minutes. Sophie tells him about school, about the hamster in her classroom named Snowball, about how Mrs. Huang taught her to make pot stickers from scratch. Normal things. Beautiful things. The rhythm of a 7-year-old's life. When they hang up, Ethan sits in the quiet dark, thinking about fading voices and new connections, and the particular terror of hoping again. The resort doors open. Victoria emerges alone in the vast parking lot. She looks exhausted but relieved. The meetings went well, probably. Deals closed, investors impressed. Another victory in a life full of victories that somehow still feels empty. She scans the parking lot, finds his car, walks over. Ethan gets out to open her door. "You didn't have to wait in the car," she says. "The resort has a lounge. You could have been warm." "I'm fine. You're still damp from earlier." "I'll dry." She studies him in the parking lot lights. Really looks at him like she's trying to figure out a puzzle. You're stubborn. It's been mentioned. This time she smiles. A real smile that transforms her face from Ice Queen to someone warm, human, beautiful, in a completely different way. Drive me back, she asks softly. I'm exhausted. That's what I'm here for. They drive through mountain darkness. The resort disappears behind them. Stars overhead so bright they feel close enough to touch one of the benefits of being away from city lights. Victoria's not on her phone, just sitting, watching the world pass in darkness and starlight. Can I ask you something, she says after 20 minutes of comfortable silence. Sure. That phone call earlier. With your daughter. She had a bad dream. Yeah. About her mother. Sometimes she struggles with forgetting. Forgetting Rachel's voice. What she sounded like. It's been 3 years. Sophie was only 4 when her mum died. Memories fade, especially when you're that young. Victoria's quiet for a long moment. I can't remember my mother's voice either. She died when I was 9. I thought I'd never forget, but she trails off. Time takes things from us, even the things we swear we'll hold forever. It does. Does it get easier? The missing Ethan considers this carefully. The question deserves honesty. No. But you get stronger at carrying it. Like building muscle. First time you lift something heavy, it feels impossible. But you keep lifting, and eventually you can carry more than you thought possible. The weight doesn't get lighter. You just get stronger. That's a good way of putting it. Rachel used to say that pain doesn't get smaller. We just get bigger around it. He pauses. Took me 2 years to understand what she meant. Victoria's reflection in the mirror shows tears she's blinking back. Your wife sounds like she was remarkable. She was. Funny kind saw good in everyone even when they didn't deserve it. Made the world feel less scary just by existing in it. You loved her very much. I did. Still do. That doesn't go away just because someone's gone. Do you think... Victoria hesitates. Do you think it's possible to love like that twice? To find that again? The question hangs in the air between them. Loaded, dangerous, beautiful. I don't know. Ethan answers honestly. I've been too scared to find out. Scared of what? Of replacing her. Of failing whoever comes next because I'm still carrying grief. Of letting Sophie get attached to someone who might leave. He pauses. Of hoping for something good and having it taken away again. That's a lot of fear. It's kept us safe. Safe and alone are different things. Yeah. Ethan glances at her in the mirror. They are. More silence. But it feels different now. Weighted with things unsaid. Can I tell you something? Victoria asks. Something I haven't told anyone? Of course. I'm lonely. The words come out like confession. Like admitting weakness. Profoundly, deeply lonely. I have a company with 500 employees. I negotiate deals worth hundreds of millions. I attend parties and events, and smile for cameras, and shake hands with people who pretend to care. But I go home to a penthouse apartment where I eat takeout standing at the counter because sitting at that 12-person dining table alone is too depressing. And I can't remember the last time someone touched me without wanting something, without it being a transaction. Ethan's chest aches for her. These 3 days with you. She continues, her voice barely above a whisper, driving around, eating at diners, being seen as a person. Instead of a position, it's the most human I've felt in years. And that's terrifying, because it means I've been missing something essential without even realizing it. What have you been missing? Connection. Real connection. The kind that doesn't come with contracts or expectations or performance metrics, just existing with someone who sees you. They're pulling up to the Grand Meridian now. Journey's end for tonight. Ethan parks, turns in his seat to look at her directly. You deserve that, he says. Real connection. Someone who sees you. You deserve to be more than your position or your quarterly earnings or whatever your father expects from you. Do I? Sometimes I think I chose this life, made it what it is, and maybe I don't deserve to complain. Choosing something doesn't mean you can't regret it, doesn't mean you can't want something different now. Victoria meets his eyes. What if I want something I can't have? The question echoes in the small space of the car. Ethan knows what she's asking, what she's really asking. Then you decide, he says slowly, what you're willing to risk for it. She nods, gathers her things with hands that aren't quite steady. Tomorrow's the last day, she says. Yeah, I wish it wasn't. Me too. She opens the door, pauses. Ethan, yeah, thank you for listening, for seeing me, for, she struggles, for being you. Then she's gone. And Ethan drives home through the dark, his heart doing dangerous things, things that feel like hope, things that feel like falling. Day 3 dawns grey and heavy with significance. Last day. After tonight, Victoria Ashford returns to her world of board meetings and international flights. Ethan Blake returns to his world of patched-together income and Sophie's bedtime stories. The $950 job ends. They go back to being strangers who shared 3 days and nothing more, except it already feels like more. Much more. Ethan picks up Sophie from Mrs. Huang's apartment at 6 m.a., his daughter's sleepy, clutching her stuffed elephant hair, sticking up in directions that defy physics. Last day with the pretty lady, she mumbles as he carries her to the car. Yeah, Soph. Are you sad? It's just a job. Liar. She rests her head on his shoulder. You like her? I can tell because you smile different when you talk about her. It doesn't matter if I like her. She's not part of our world. Sophie's quiet for a moment. Then, maybe she could be, if you asked. It's not that simple. Grown-ups always say that when they're scared. Out of the mouths of babes. Ethan drops Sophie at school, watches her skip toward the entrance with her too heavy backpack and her fearless heart completely unaware that her father's world might be about to change. Then he drives to the Grand Meridian for the last time. Victoria's waiting, but today she looks different. Softer, nervous maybe. She's in jeans. Actually in jeans, with a cream-colored sweater that looks comfortable instead of powerful. Her hair's down, falling in waves around her shoulders. No armor today. Just a woman. Morning, she says, climbing in. Morning. Where to? Actually, she pauses. Can we just drive? No destination, just drive. Ethan meets her eyes in the mirror. Something's different. Something's shifted overnight. Yeah, we can do that. He drives aimlessly. Through the city along the waterfront, past neighborhoods waking up to Sunday morning. No schedule, no meetings, just movement and morning light. I called them off, Victoria says after 20 minutes. Called who off all of today's meetings? Conference calls, everything. Told my assistant I was taking a personal day. She laughs, nervous, uncertain. First time in 3 years. Are you sick? No. She pauses. I'm trying something new, not being available 24/7, not letting my entire life be consumed by work. Actually living instead of just existing. What brought this on? You did. The words land like stones in still water, ripples spreading. Me, these 3 days, watching you be present for Sophie despite working multiple jobs, watching you fix a car in freezing rain without complaint, eating breakfast at a diner where people actually knew your name and cared about you as a person, not a position. She pauses. I realized I've been living wrong, prioritizing the wrong things. And I don't want to do that anymore. Ethan doesn't know what to say. Pull over, Victoria says suddenly. There. The park. He pulls into Alki Beach Park. It's nearly empty this early on a Sunday. Just joggers and dog walkers, and the morning breaking over Puget Sound like a promise. They walk together along the beach path. Not driver and client anymore. Just two people. Tell me about Sophie, Victoria says. Really tell me. Everything. So Ethan does. He tells her about Sophie's obsession with animals, her determination to be a veterinarian despite never having owned a pet because the apartment doesn't allow them. About how she reads 3 levels above her grade and helps other kids who struggle. About the nightmares, the grief, the way she tries to be strong for him even though she's 7 and shouldn't have to be. About how she still sets a place for Rachel at dinner sometimes, forgetting her mother's gone, then crying when she remembers. She sounds incredible. She is. Best thing Rachel and I ever made. I'd like to meet her. Properly. Not just a voice on the phone. Ethan stops walking. Why? Because she's important to you. And you've become important to me. Victoria. I know this is insane. 3 days isn't enough time to know someone, but I've spent 3 days with you, and I've learned more about what I want from life than I learned in the last 3 years. You make me want to be different, better, more human. You're already human. Am I? Or am I just a well-dressed machine that processes business deals and pretends to care about things that don't actually matter? You're human. You're just scared to show it. So are you. Fair point. They sit on a bench overlooking the water, close enough to feel each other's warmth, but not quite touching. Like they're both afraid of what touching might mean. What are we doing? Victoria asks quietly. I don't know. I leave tomorrow. Back to Singapore for 2 weeks. Then Tokyo. Then New York. My life is planes and hotels and boardrooms on 3 continents. And mine is fixing cars and scraped knees and parent-teacher conferences. Worlds that don't overlap. Completely incompatible. Completely. Silence. Then Ethan says the thing he's been thinking for 3 days. Unless one of us is willing to change. Victoria looks at him. I've been thinking the same thing. And I don't know if I'm brave enough. For what to walk away from everything I've built? Everything I've been told matters. My father would disown me, probably already has plans to. The board would fight me. I'd lose the company, the money, the status, the identity I've spent 30 years building. But you'd gain something else. What a life that's yours. Not your father's. Not the company's. Not your investors. Yours. Victoria's eyes fill with tears. I don't know if I know how to have that. You learn. Same way you learned everything else. One day at a time. One choice at a time. She turns to face him fully. If I stayed, if I chose you, what would that look like? Ethan's heart pounds. Are you asking hypothetically or actually? I don't know yet. Maybe both. He takes a breath, decides on honesty. Complete honesty. It would look like my 2-bedroom apartment where the water pressure's terrible and the neighbors fight at 2 a.m. It would look like budgeting for groceries and worrying about car repairs. It would look like Sophie climbing into bed with us during thunderstorms because she's scared. It would look like ordinary. Maybe boring. Definitely not glamorous or impressive or Instagram-worthy. It sounds perfect. You say that now. But when the novelty wears off, what if it doesn't? What if ordinary is exactly what I've been missing my entire life? Ethan wants to believe her. God, he wants to. But he's been burned by hope before. Watched it die in a hospital room with beeping machines and Rachel's hand going cold in his. I can't risk Sophie, he says quietly. I can't let her get attached to someone who might leave. She's already lost one mother. I won't let her lose another. I wouldn't leave. You can't promise that. You haven't lived this life. You don't know if you could handle it long term. The struggle, the sacrifice, the reality of it. So what are you saying? This ends today. We just walk away, I'm saying. Ethan struggles. I'm saying I'm terrified, of hoping, of failing you, of letting my daughter love you and then watching you realize this isn't enough and leaving us both broken. Victoria takes his hand. First time they've touched beyond professional courtesy. Her palm is soft, warm, real. I'm terrified too, she whispers. But maybe being terrified together is better than being safe alone. They sit like that, hands clasped, overlooking water that reflects morning sky. Two people from different worlds wondering if the gap between them can be bridged. Wondering if love is enough. One more thing, Ethan says. What call Sophie? Talk to her. Really talk to her. Not through me. Get to know her directly. And if you still feel this way after talking to my daughter, after understanding what you'd be signing up for, then maybe we try. Maybe we try. Victoria nods, pulls out her phone. Now, why not, she dials. Ethan gave her the number yesterday. Sophie answers on the third ring. Hello, hi Sophie. This is Victoria. We talked before. I'm the pretty lady Daddy's told me about you, Victoria laughs. Surprised, genuine. Has he? He says you're professional and punctual and have excellent business skills. That sounds like something my employees would say. Are you going to marry my daddy? Victoria's eyes go wide. Ethan covers his face with his hands, mortified. Sophie, he calls toward the phone. What? It's a valid question. Victoria's laughing and crying at the same time. I don't know yet, sweetheart, but I'd really like to meet you. Would that be okay? Yes. Can you come to dinner? I'll make my special spaghetti. Well, Daddy helps, but I do all the important parts. I would love that. They talk for 20 minutes. Sophie tells Victoria everything. Her favorite color purple, her favorite animal sea turtles because they're ancient and wise. Her dream save all the animals. Her biggest fear that she'll forget her mommy completely, and it'll be like she never existed. Victoria answers Sophie's questions honestly. Yes, she's rich. Yes, she's been lonely. Yes, she thinks Sophie's daddy is pretty special. No, she doesn't know how to cook spaghetti, but she'd love to learn. When the call ends, Victoria's mascara is smudged from crying. She's perfect, she says. She's a lot. Fair warning. I want a lot. I've had empty for too long. Ethan looks at this woman, this CEO who's breaking apart and rebuilding before his eyes, and makes a decision. Tonight. Come to dinner. Meet Sophie properly. See our life. The real version, not polished, not pretty, not Instagram ready. And then decide if this is something you actually want. I've already decided. Decide again. After you've seen everything. After you've sat in our cramped kitchen and seen how small our bathroom is and realized that, yes, this is really what you'd be choosing. Victoria nods. Okay. Tonight? Your place. But Ethan? Yeah, I'm not going to change my mind. They spend the rest of the day together. Not driver and client, just two people. Victoria wants to see Ethan's world. So he shows her. The mechanic shop where he used to work before he lost it, now run by someone else, but the guys still wave when he drives by. The apartment building where he and Sophie live, it's paint-peeling but rent-controlled. The school Sophie attends, good public school but overcrowded, underfunded, held together by teachers who care more than they're paid to. The grocery store where Ethan shops, comparing prices, choosing generic brands, calculating in his head whether he can afford the good peanut butter this week or if they're sticking with the cheap stuff again. The playground where Sophie goes after school, supervised by Mrs. Huang, its equipment rusty but safe enough. Victoria watches everything, takes it in, doesn't judge, doesn't recoil, doesn't pull out her phone to escape uncomfortable reality. Just sees, really sees. "This is my life," Ethan says as they stand outside his apartment building. Nothing fancy, nothing impressive, just real. "It's more impressive than anything in my world," Victoria says quietly. "You've built something that matters with almost nothing. That takes more strength than building a company with unlimited resources." When evening comes, they return to Ethan's apartment. Sophie's waiting on the stoop, with Mrs. Huang practically vibrating with excitement. "She's here, Daddy! She's here!" Sophie launches herself at Victoria before Ethan can stop her. Victoria catches her stumble slightly, then steadies. Holds this 7-year-old who smells like school lunch and sunshine and hope. "Hi, Sophie. You're even prettier in person, and you're tall, and you smell nice, like flowers." "Thank you. You smell nice too, like cookies. Mrs. Huang and I made snickerdoodles." "They're your favorite, right?" "Daddy said so." Victoria looks at Ethan over Sophie's head, eyebrow raised. "You told her snickerdoodles are my favorite, lucky guess." "They're my favorite too." Sophie grabs. Victoria's hand starts dragging her inside. "Come on, I'll show you my room. And Mr. Whiskers. That's my elephant. He's very old. And my drawings, and my library books, and—" The evening unfolds like magic. Sophie gives the grand tour of their tiny apartment, shows Victoria her collection of library books about animals checked out every 2 weeks like clockwork. The drawings covering her walls, families, houses, trees, animals, Mommy as an angel, the corner where she does homework with Daddy's help. "This is where Daddy helps me with math. He's really good at math, even though he says he's not." Victoria sits on Sophie's bed, twin-size princess sheets that are worn thin from washing, looking at everything with eyes that keep filling with tears. She blinks away. "I love your room," she says. "It's perfect. It's small. Daddy says when we have more money we'll get a bigger place with a yard and I can have a dog. But I like it here. It feels safe. Safe." The word lands heavy in Victoria's chest. Because that's what this is. Not fancy, not impressive, but safe. Built by a father who loves his daughter more than anything. Dinner is chaos. Sophie insists on cooking, which means Ethan does most of the work, while Sophie supervises and provides running commentary. "You have to stir it like this, or the sauce gets lumpy." "Sophie, the sauce is fine." "But Mommy always said—" She stops, goes quiet. Ethan's there immediately. Kneels beside her. "Hey, it's okay to talk about Mommy. She'd want you to remember her cooking lessons. But what if Victoria feels bad? Victoria's there too, kneeling on Sophie's other side without hesitation." "I won't feel bad. Your Mommy was special. She helped make you. And you're the most special person I've met." Sophie looks between them with those 2 wise eyes. "You're not going to try to replace her, right? Because nobody can. Nobody will." Victoria promises, her voice steady despite tears. "Your Mommy will always be your Mommy. I could never replace her. But maybe—" She hesitates. "Maybe I could be something else. Someone new, if you wanted." "Like what?" "Like a friend who stays." Sophie considers this with 7-year-old seriousness. Then nods. "Okay. But friends have to like animals and read books and play pretend and not mind when I'm sad about Mommy. I can do all of those things. Good. Then you can stay. Simple as that. 7-year-old logic solving what adults make complicated. They eat spaghetti at the tiny kitchen table. 3 of them squeezed around a space meant for 2. Sophie talks non-stop. Victoria listens like every word is precious. Ethan watches both of them and feels something crack open in his chest that's been frozen for 3 years. After dinner, Sophie insists on showing Victoria her bedtime routine. First, we brush teeth for 2 whole minutes, Daddy times it. Then we pick out pajamas. Then we read 1 chapter of whatever book we're on. Then we say goodnight to Mommy. You say goodnight to your mummy. Yeah. Daddy says she's watching from heaven. So every night we tell her about our day. It helps. Victoria's crying openly now. They do the routine. All of it. Victoria helps Sophie brush teeth 2 minutes exactly. Ethan confirms with his phone timer, picks out pajamas purple with stars naturally, reads a chapter of Charlotte's Web with the kind of attention she probably gives quarterly reports. Then Sophie gets serious. Now we say goodnight to Mommy. You can do it too if you want. So the 3 of them stand by Sophie's bed. And Sophie says, Good night, Mummy. Today I met Daddy's friend, Victoria. She's really nice. I think you'd like her. She makes Daddy smile, real smiles again. And she cried when I talked about you, which means she understands about missing people. Love you, Mummy. Watch over us, okay? Victoria can barely breathe. Ethan tucks Sophie in, kisses her forehead. Love you, sweetheart. Love you too, Daddy. And Victoria. You can come back tomorrow, right? I don't know, Sophie. Please, I like having you here. It feels right, like we're supposed to be a family. When they leave Sophie's room, Victoria collapses against the hallway wall. I can't breathe. Ethan guides her to the small balcony off the kitchen. Cool November air. City sounds below. Stars barely visible through light pollution. Are you okay? She's perfect. Your daughter is perfect. And your life is perfect. And I want this so badly it physically hurts. But I'm scared. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't be what she needs? What if I fail and disappoint her and break her heart after she's already been through so much? Victoria. Ethan takes her hands. You're already enough. You showed up. You listened. You cried when she talked about Rachel. That's what matters. Not perfection. Just showing up. I don't know how to be a mother. Neither did Rachel. She figured it out day by day. I'm still figuring it out. We all are. What if I fail? Then we fail together. But I don't think you will. Victoria looks at him. Really looks. I'm falling in love with you, she whispers. With both of you. I've known you 3 days, and I'm falling in love, and it's the scariest, most wonderful thing I've ever felt. Ethan's heart stops, then starts again harder. I'm falling too, he admits. Have been since you stared at Sophie's photo that first night, like you were seeing something precious you'd lost. So what do we do? I don't know. But maybe we figure it out together. 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 They stand on the balcony overlooking a city that's too big and too indifferent, but somehow tonight feels exactly right. I have to leave tomorrow, Victoria says. Singapore. 2 weeks of meetings I can't cancel without destroying relationships I've spent years building. I know, but I'm coming back, and when I do, I want to try this. Really try. You, me, Sophie. A real family, if you'll have me. Are you sure I've never been more sure of anything in my life? Ethan pulls her close, kisses her softly, tentative at first, then deeper, both of them trembling with fear and hope, and possibility. She tastes like hope and new beginnings. When they pull apart, both of them are crying. 2 weeks, she says. I'll be here. Promise, promise. Inside, Sophie calls out, Are you guys kissing? Because I heard kissing sounds, and I think that means you like each other. They laugh, and for the first time in 3 years, Ethan's apartment feels like home again, full of laughter and hope and the possibility of healing. Victoria leaves the next morning. Private car to the airport. First class to Singapore. The world she came from reclaiming her. But everything's different now. She spends the entire flight staring out the window thinking about a small apartment and a gap-toothed girl and a man who fixed cars in the rain without complaining. Singapore is all glass towers and humid heat and meetings that blur together. But her mind is elsewhere. She thinks about Ethan during conference calls, about Sophie during business dinners, about the life she glimpsed and desperately wants. Day 3 in Singapore, her father calls. Richard Ashford, 64, built an empire from nothing and expects his daughter to expand it exponentially. The Tokyo deal, he says, without preamble. Without hello or how are you, because those niceties are for people who matter less. Start us on track. Good. I've arranged something for you. Victoria's stomach drops. She knows that tone, has known it her entire life. What did you arrange, Father Dinner? Next week when you're in New York. Gregory Worthington. His family's been building tech infrastructure for 3 generations. Perfect strategic match. His company merges with ours. We control 40% of the eastern seaboard's infrastructure. The Worthington name, the Ashford Resources. Unstoppable combination. Father, I'm not interested in being matched with anyone. This isn't about interest. It's about legacy. About building something that lasts beyond our lifetimes. I don't care about being unstoppable. Silence. Then dangerously quiet. What did you say I said? I don't care. Not about mergers or infrastructure or strategic marriages. I care about being happy. He says it like it's a foreign concept. A weakness. Victoria, you're the CEO of a billion-dollar company. You have more than most people dream of having. I have things. I don't have a life. Don't be dramatic. I'm not. I'm being honest for the first time in years about what I actually want. And what is that? She thinks about telling him. About Ethan and Sophie and the apartment with terrible water pressure. But he wouldn't understand. He'd call it slumming a phase, temporary insanity. I want to be more than a position, she says instead. More than your daughter, the CEO. More than a strategic asset. You're an Ashford. That's not a position. It's an identity. A responsibility. Maybe I want a different identity. That's not how this works. You don't just walk away from generations of legacy because you're having some kind of quarter-life crisis. I'm 28. That's not quarter-life. Victoria. His voice goes hard. The voice she's heard him use on board members and competitors. Never thought she'd hear it directed at her. You will attend the dinner with Gregory Worthington. You will be professional and charming. And you will seriously consider what I'm proposing. Because if you don't... What will you do? The board answers to me. I still control 51% of voting shares. Don't make me remind you that your position exists at my pleasure. The threat is clear, crystal clear. Fall in line or lose everything. Victoria hangs up, hands shaking. She's spent her entire life trying to earn her father's approval, trying to prove she could run the company as well as any son, trying to be enough for a man who equates love with achievement and measures worth in quarterly earnings. But she's tired, so tired of performing, of proving, of sacrificing everything that matters for things that don't. She pulls out her phone, texts Ethan, "I miss you," 3 words, simple. True. His response comes immediately. "Miss you too. Sophie drew you a picture. Wants to mail it, but we don't have your address." Victoria smiles through tears. "Send it to the Singapore office. I'll make sure they forward it. Are you okay? You sound sad. Just missing real life. It's waiting for you. We're waiting for you. Promise, promise. Victoria holds her phone, staring at those words. Real life. She's had 3 decades of the fake kind. Maybe it's time for something authentic. But her father isn't done. 2 days later, while Victoria's in a meeting with potential investors, her assistant knocks. Ms. Ashford. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's been a development. Victoria steps outside. What kind of development? Your father hired a private investigator to look into. The assistant hesitates. To look into Ethan Blake and his daughter. Victoria's blood turns to ice. What apparently he's documenting living conditions, interviewing neighbors, building some kind of case. I only know because the investigator contacted our office by mistake, thinking we'd want to assist. Building a case for what I don't know. But given the questions he's asking, it sounds like he might be preparing to file something with child services. The world tilts sideways. Her father is going after Sophie. Can't control Victoria through threats or money, so he's going after an innocent 7-year-old girl. Victoria makes 3 phone calls. First to her lawyer. I need documentation of everything my father's doing. The PI, the investigation, all of it. Legal and time-stamped. Second to a colleague who owes her a favor. I need you to look into Richard Ashford's recent business dealings. Anything questionable? I'll explain later. Third to Ethan. We have a problem. The investigator is thorough. He takes photos of Ethan's apartment building, making it look worse than it is by shooting from specific angles. He interviews neighbors, paying the unreliable ones to say concerning things about noise, Sophie being a lone general neglect. He builds a file that looks legitimate. Then Richard files the report. The call comes on a Wednesday. Hello, Mr. Blake. This is Margaret Chen from Child Protective Services. We've received a complaint regarding the living conditions of a minor in your care. Ethan's blood turns to ice. What Sophie Blake, age 7? We need to schedule a home visit to assess the environment. Who filed a complaint I'm not at liberty to say, but the report was quite detailed. Allegations of inadequate supervision, unsuitable living conditions, financial instability affecting the child's welfare. Ethan's mind races. This is Victoria's father. Has to be. Can't control her, so he's going after Sophie. When Friday at 2 p.m. Please ensure someone over 18 is home with the child. He calls Victoria immediately. She's in Tokyo. Picks up on the first ring despite the time difference. Ethan, your father filed a CPS report. They're coming Friday. Silence. Then voice shaking with rage. I'm so sorry. I'll fix this. There's nothing to fix. We just have to prove Sophie's safe and cared for, which she is. He went after a child. A 7-year-old child who's already lost her mother. What kind of person? A desperate one. Trying to control you through any means necessary. I'm coming home. First flight I can get. Your meetings. Forget the meetings. This is more important. It's the first time he's heard her swear. Somehow it makes the situation feel more real. Friday, he says. 2 p.m. We'll be ready. The next 2 days are focused preparation. Ethan and Sophie clean the apartment obsessively. Make sure everything's safe, proper documented. He gathers Sophie's school records, excellent grades, medical records up to date on everything, photos of them together at parks, libraries, school events. Builds a file showing what SEEP needs to see. A child who's loved, cared for, thriving despite loss. Sophie doesn't fully understand why everyone's so stressed. What's happening, Daddy? Just some people coming to make sure you're happy and safe? But I am happy and safe. I know, sweetheart. But we have to prove it to them. Thursday evening, Victoria arrives. She's flown commercial for the first time in 5 years, taken 3 connections, arrived exhausted but determined. Sophie runs to her. Victoria, you came back. Of course I came back. I promised, didn't I? That night after Sophie's asleep, the three adults sit in the small living room. Ethan, Victoria, and Mrs. Huang, who's been drafted as character witness. They'll ask Sophie questions alone, Mrs. Huang says. That's standard. Don't worry. That child is smart and honest. She'll tell them the truth. What if the truth isn't enough? Ethan asks quietly. It will be, Victoria says fiercely. Because unlike my father's paid investigator with manufactured evidence, we have reality on our side. Sophie is healthy, happy, loved. They'll see that. But despite her confidence, Victoria's hands shake. Because she knows her father, knows he doesn't make moves unless he's certain of success. What if he's corrupted the system somehow? What if money and influence have already predetermined the outcome? Friday comes. Ms. Chen. The CPS worker arrives at exactly 2 p.m. She's kind but thorough in her 50s with tired eyes that have seen too much. Checks everything. The apartment, the food in the refrigerator, Sophie's room, school records, medical records. Interviews Sophie alone in the bedroom, while Ethan, Victoria, and Mrs. Huang wait in the kitchen every minute, feeling like an hour. Through the thin walls they can hear fragments. Are you happy here? Yes, very happy. Do you feel safe? Super safe. Daddy takes really good care of me. Does anyone hurt you? No, never. Daddy would never hurt me. He's the best daddy. Is there anything you need that you don't have? Long pause. Then, a dog, but Daddy says we're saving up for one, and we'll get one when we can afford it proper-like. Ms. Chen's voice is gentler. What about this lady Victoria? How do you know her? She's Daddy's friend. She's really nice. She reads to me and helps with homework and says I can call her whenever I want. I really like her. Do you want her to stay? Yes. I hope she stays forever and ever. After an hour, Ms. Chen emerges from Sophie's room. Her expression is unreadable professional. She sits with Ethan and Victoria at the kitchen table. I've completed my assessment. The complaint alleged unsafe living conditions, inadequate supervision, and potential neglect. Ethan's heart pounds. I found no evidence supporting these allegations. Sophie is healthy, well-nourished, properly clothed, attending school regularly with excellent performance. The apartment meets all safety standards. Sophie reports feeling safe, loved, and happy. Her emotional and physical needs are clearly being met. Victoria exhales shakily. Furthermore, Ms. Chen continues, her eyes sharp. Now, the detail level in the original complaint suggests someone with an agenda rather than genuine concern. The photographs submitted were taken from misleading angles. The neighbor interviews? She pauses. Let's just say when I spoke to those same neighbors myself, their stories changed significantly, particularly after I mentioned the legal consequences of filing false statements. So Ethan's voice is barely a whisper. So the case is closed. No cause for concern. Sophie stays with you where she clearly belongs. Ms. Chen pauses. Whoever filed this complaint wasted a lot of time and resources. If I find out who it was, there will be consequences. After she leaves, Ethan collapses on the couch. Victoria sits beside him, takes his hand. It's over, she says. Is it? Or will your father try something else? It's over, Victoria repeats, her voice steel. Because I'm going to make sure he never tries this again. That night after Sophie's asleep, Victoria makes calls. To lawyers, to the journalists she knows and trusts, to former board members who've been quietly unhappy with Richard's increasingly erratic behavior. She's been gathering information for a week since her assistant warned her about the PI. Her colleague found irregularities in Richard's recent deals. Nothing illegal but ethically grey. Using company resources for personal vendettas. Conflicts of interest. Pattern of behavior showing someone who's lost perspective. What are you doing? Ethan asks, watching her work at his kitchen table. Building a case against my own father. Victoria. He tried to take Sophie away. Tried to use the system to hurt an innocent child to punish me for choosing my own happiness. I can't let that stand. Are you sure about this? Once you do this, there's no going back. There's already no going back. He made sure of that when he filed that false report. Ethan's quiet. Then, what do you need from me? Support, that's all. Just support. You have it. Always. Victoria contacts a journalist she knows from her CEO days, someone trustworthy who won't sensationalize but will tell the truth. I have a story for you. They meet at a coffee shop. Victoria lays it all out. Her father's controlling behavior, the forced merger plans, the threat to remove her as CEO, the private investigator, the false CPS complaint targeting a 7-year-old child. Can you prove the complaint came from him? I can prove a pattern of control and manipulation, of using any means necessary, including hurting children, to get what he wants. She slides over documents, financial records from her time at the company, deals Richard made that benefited him personally. That skirted regulations, that put profits over people and ethics. This is explosive, I know, but I need you to be careful. I'm not trying to destroy him. I'm trying to stop him from destroying others. The journalist studies her. Why now? What changed? He went after my family. I can handle him coming after me, but a 7-year-old girl who's already lost her mother. That's where I draw the line. The article drops Wednesday. Corporate Titans Fall. Richard Ashford's Legacy of Control. It details everything with brutal precision. The pattern of manipulation, the CPS complaint, the attempted forced marriage, the PI investigation, the use of company resources for personal vendettas. It doesn't destroy Richard, but it wounds him deeply. His phone rings off the hook. Board members demanding explanations, investors getting nervous, the carefully constructed image crumbling. Victoria doesn't feel victorious. She feels sad, because despite everything, he's still her father. And she still loves him, even though he's made that love so difficult. But loving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you, doesn't mean letting them hurt innocent children. Thursday evening, her phone rings. Richard. She considers not answering, but she does. Father, you've destroyed me. No. I stopped you from destroying others. There's a difference. Silence. Then, why would you do this to me? You called CPS on a 7-year-old child. You tried to take away a little girl who's already lost her mother just to punish me for not obeying you. What did you expect me to do? I was trying to protect you by hurting an innocent child, by using the system designed to protect children to attack one instead. That's not protection, Father. That's cruelty. More silence. When he speaks again, his voice is different. Broken. I've lost the board's confidence. They're voting to remove me next week. I'm sorry. Are you... This was your goal? No. My goal was to stop you from hurting my family. If the board's removing you, that's because of your own actions, not mine. I built that company from nothing, and then you used it as a weapon against your own daughter. You did this to yourself. Richard's voice cracks the first time Victoria's heard real emotion from him in years. I don't know how to reach you anymore. You never knew how to reach me. You only knew how to control me. And when I stopped letting you, you didn't know what to do except lash out. What do you want from me, Victoria? It's the first time he's sounded lost, vulnerable, human. Victoria takes a breath. I want you to accept that I'm happy, that I made a choice that's right for me even if you don't understand it. And I want you to stop trying to destroy that happiness. And if I can't, then we're done. Permanently. Because I won't let you hurt my family. Long, painful silence. I don't know if I can do that. Then we have nothing more to say. Victoria hangs up, cries for an hour, because it's one thing to know your parent doesn't really love you the way you need to be loved. It's another to have them confirm it. That night, Ethan holds her while she grieves. Not just for her father, for the relationship she never had, for the approval she'll never get, for the little girl she was who just wanted her daddy to be proud of her. "I'm sorry," Ethan whispers. "Don't be. You warned me. Said some people don't know how to love without controlling. Still, he's your father, was my father. Now he's just a man who chose power over connection." Sophie appears in the doorway, supposed to be asleep, but clearly eavesdropping. Victoria. "Are you sad?" "A little, sweetheart. Can I help?" "Come here." Sophie climbs between them, all three of them tangled together on the worn couch. "We're your family now," Sophie says with 7-year-old certainty. "Me and Daddy. And we love you no matter what. Your other daddy was being mean, but you have us now." Victoria clings to them both. "I know. I love you too. Both of you. So much." They fall asleep like that. 3 people who chose each other. Building a family from love instead of obligation. From choice instead of blood. From hope instead of control. 2 weeks after the article, life finds a new rhythm. Victoria's made her choice. Really made it. She's stepped down as CEO, giving her shares to a trust that benefits educational programs for underprivileged children. Keeps enough money to be comfortable, not wealthy, but secure. Takes a consulting job with small businesses. Nothing glamorous, but honest work that doesn't consume her soul. She moves into Ethan's apartment. It's cramped. 1 bathroom for 3 people. The hot water runs out if 2 people shower. It's perfect. Money's tight. Tighter than Victoria's ever experienced. 1 month, the car needs new tires they can't afford. Ethan patches them himself, knowing they won't last, but buying them time. Another month, Sophie outgrows her shoes, and they have to choose between new shoes or fixing the kitchen sink that's been leaking. They fix the sink. Sophie wears her 2 small shoes for another month. Victoria learns what $20 means to Ethan's family. Why they can't just hire someone. Why treat yourself means a $2 candy bar, not a $200 spa day. It's humbling. Sometimes humiliating, but also freeing. One Saturday they're at the farmer's market. Sophie's helping pick vegetables for dinner. "Can we get strawberries?" she asks. Victoria checks the price. Winces. They're $8 a carton, and they've only got $12 left in the grocery budget. "How about apples instead, sweetheart?" "They're on sale. £3 for $4. "Okay. No tantrum, no argument. Just acceptance." Victoria's heart breaks a little, because Sophie's learned too young that wanting something doesn't mean getting it. That money matters, that sometimes you have to choose. But she's also learned something else, that love isn't measured in dollars. That night, Victoria makes apple pie with Sophie, from scratch using her grandmother's recipe that Rosie provided. Ethan helps with the crust because Victoria's never made pie crust before. It's messy. The kitchen's a disaster. The pie comes out slightly burned on one edge, and it's the best thing Victoria's ever made, because it's theirs. Made with love in their tiny kitchen, shared around their cramped table, worth more than any Michelin-starred meal she's ever eaten. But life isn't all farmers' markets and homemade pie. There are bills that stack up too fast. The car breaks down, timing belt finally gives out completely. They have to take the bus for 2 weeks while Ethan saves enough for repairs. Sophie needs new glasses. $200 they don't have. Victoria dips into her rapidly dwindling savings. Ethan hates it. I should be able to provide for my family. You are providing. We're all providing. That's how this works. But you gave up everything. I gave up things that didn't matter. I gained everything that does. Still. Victoria takes his face in her hands. Ethan, I don't regret this. Not for 1 second. Do you understand I'm happier struggling with you than I ever was comfortable alone? Okay. But she can see it bothering him. The wounded pride of a man who's always carried his own weight. Who's never asked for help. Who's never had to share the burden. She understands. Because she's struggling with the opposite. Learning to ask for help. Learning that needing people isn't weakness. They're both learning. Together. Sophie starts calling Victoria Mom sometimes. Not all the time. Still Victoria mostly. But occasionally when she's tired or hurt or happy. Mom, can you help me? The first time it happens, Victoria freezes. They're in the bathroom. Sophie's getting ready for bed. She's struggling with a knot in her hair. Mom, can you help me get this out? Victoria's hands shake as she reaches for the hairbrush. Sophie realizes what she said. Sorry, I didn't mean. Is that okay? Victoria's crying. Happy tears. It's more than okay. But what about my real mum? I don't want to forget her. You won't forget her. Your first mum will always be your mum. I'm just... What is she? I'm your bonus mum. I like that. Sophie turns around, hugs Victoria tight. Bonus mum. Like I got extra lucky. They hold each other, both crying now, and Victoria feels like she's finally found where she belongs. But problems are brewing. The media got hold of the story somehow. Former CEO living in poverty with mechanic boyfriend. The headlines are brutal. Victoria Ashford's fall from grace. Billionaire's daughter slumming it. Love or publicity? Stunt. The comments section's worse. Gold digger using him for street cred. He's manipulating her for money. Give it 6 months, she'll run back to daddy. Playing poor for Instagram likes. Sophie sees some of it at school. Kids repeat what parents say. 8-year-olds can be cruel, especially when they don't understand. She comes home crying one day. They said Ethan's using you for money. They said you're just playing poor until you get bored and leave us. Victoria's fury is immediate and protective. Who said that? It doesn't matter. Yes, it does. No. Sophie's voice is firm, Rachel's stubbornness showing through. Because they don't know us. They don't know what we have. And I don't care what they think. 7 years old and wiser than most adults. 6 months in, there's a crisis. Real crisis, not manufactured by Richard or the media. The apartment building's being sold. New owners raising rent by 40%. They can't afford it. They have 30 days to find a new place. Ethan works the numbers every possible way. There's no version where it works. We could move further out, Victoria suggests. Where rent's cheaper. Further out means worse schools for Sophie. Longer commute for work. Less safe neighborhood. We'll make it work. Will we? Ethan's frustration boils over. Will we really? Or are you just saying that because you haven't actually lived poor long enough to understand what it means? The words hang in the air. Sharp. Painful. That's not fair. Victoria says quietly. Isn't it? 6 months ago you had a penthouse and unlimited money. Now we're about to be homeless and you're acting like it's an adventure we'll figure out together. But I've been here before. I know what comes next. The desperation, the fear, the impossible choices. So what are you saying? You want me to leave? I'm saying maybe you should consider if this is really what you want long term. Before Sophie gets more attached, before this gets harder. Victoria stares at him. You're pushing me away. I'm being realistic. No, you're being scared. There's a difference. She's right. He knows she's right. But fear makes you do stupid things sometimes. That night after Sophie's asleep, they sit on the balcony. Not touching. Both afraid of what touching might mean right now. I'm sorry, Ethan says finally. For what I said earlier. Are you, or do you believe it? I don't know. Honest, painful. Part of me keeps waiting for you to wake up and realize this isn't enough. That I'm not enough. And part of me keeps waiting for you to decide I'm not worth the complications I brought into your life. They look at each other. We're both scared, Victoria says. Yeah. But maybe being scared together is better than being safe alone. You said that before. At the beach. I meant it then. I mean it now. Ethan takes her hand. We'll find a place. Somehow. We'll make it work. Together. Together. They sit in silence, holding hands, watching the city lights. And slowly, the fear recedes, replaced by something stronger. Hope. The solution comes from an unexpected source. Richard. A courier delivers an envelope one Tuesday morning. Inside, legal documents, and a letter in Richard's careful handwriting. Victoria, I'm transferring assets into a trust for Sophie, not as control, not as leverage, but because she's my granddaughter and deserves security. Use it for her education, her future, however you see fit. No strings attached. I'm also establishing a foundation in your mother's name. For families like Ethan's single parents who need support. You'll oversee it if you choose. Again, no strings. This isn't an apology. I'm not good at those. But it's an attempt. At being better. At understanding what actually matters. Your father. Victoria stares at the documents. The trust is substantial. Not extravagant, but enough to ensure Sophie's future, her education, her security, the foundation even more so. Is this real? Ethan asks, reading over her shoulder. I think so. What are you going to do? Victoria thinks about her father, about control and love and the messy work of trying to change when change feels impossible. I'm going to let him try. And maybe slowly we'll figure out what family looks like when it's not built on obligation. That's brave. Or foolish. Maybe both. Using part of Sophie's trust with court approval, they put a down payment on a modest house. Not a mansion. Just a 3-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. Big enough for their family. With a yard for the dog, they promised Sophie. They move in on a Saturday. All their friends help. Mrs. Huang Rosie co-workers from Ethan's shop. Families from Sophie's school. It's chaos. Beautiful chaos. Sophie runs through the house, Charlie, their new rescue dog, chasing her, both of them, leaving muddy paw prints everywhere. My room is so big. It's not that big, Ethan calls. It's huge compared to the apartment I can do cartwheels. The sound of crashing suggests she's attempting cartwheels. Successfully given the laughter. Victoria stands in the doorway, watching tears streaming down her face. I can't believe this is my life. Ethan wraps arms around her from behind. Good can't believe, or bad can't believe, best can't believe. Best possible can't believe. That evening they have their first dinner in the new house. Pizza, because neither of them has energy to cook after moving all day. Sophie sits between them, sauce on her face, joy radiating from every pore. Can we get another dog? No, they say in unison. What about a cat? No, a hamster. We'll discuss it. That's adult for maybe. Yes. They laugh. All 3 of them. The sound filling their new house. Making it home. After Sophie's in bed, her new room with purple walls, she picked herself. Ethan finds Victoria on the back porch. She's holding another envelope. This one hand-delivered earlier. What's that letter from my father? Came this afternoon. What's it say? Victoria reads aloud. Victoria. I attended the Foundation's first board meeting yesterday. We've already helped 12 families, single parents who needed support. It's good work. Your mother would be proud. I'm learning. Slowly. How to love without controlling. How to be a father instead of a CEO. How to see people instead of assets. Perhaps one day I can meet Sophie properly, as her grandfather. Not as someone trying to use her. Only if you're comfortable. Only if she wants to. I'm trying to be better. Your father. What do you think Ethan asks? I think I want to try. Not rush it, but slowly. Supervised visits. See if he can be the grandfather Sophie deserves. And if he can't, then we stop. But at least we tried. Ethan pulls her close. You're kinder than he deserves. Maybe. But Sophie deserves a grandfather. And maybe everyone deserves a second chance. Even people who've made terrible choices. They stand together looking at their backyard, their house, their life. Small, imperfect, real. Ethan, yeah, thank you. For what? For the $950 job that changed my life. He laughs. Best $950 I never actually got paid because I fell in love halfway through. You didn't get paid. Turned it down. Couldn't take money for time spent with you. Felt wrong. Victoria kisses him. Soft and sweet and full of gratitude. We should get married. Are you proposing maybe? Then my answer is yes. But I'm doing it properly, with a ring. And everything. You don't have to. I want to. You deserve to be properly proposed to. Not just casually decided on a Tuesday night. Victoria smiles. Okay, I'll wait. But not too long. I'm not patient. Notice that about you. They stand together under stars that feel closer than they did 6 months ago. Two broken people who found wholeness in each other, and in a 7-year-old who needed them both. 3 months later. Summer arrives with warmth and possibility. Ethan tells Victoria they're going to Alki Beach Park for a picnic. Sophie's vibrating with excitement, practically bouncing. Why are you so excited about a picnic? Victoria asks. No reason, I just really love picnics. They spread a blanket near the water. The same spot where Victoria and Ethan first really talked, where they both admitted they were falling. Sophie's suspiciously helpful. Setting out food, arranging everything perfectly. Her excitement barely contained. Then Ethan clears his throat. So, there's something we want to ask you. Sophie giggles. Sophie, you want to help? His daughter pulls out a sign. Handmade, crayon-decorated, purple glitter everywhere. Will you marry my dad? Victoria's breath catches. Ethan's on one knee, holding a simple ring, not expensive but beautiful in its simplicity. I know I already know the answer, but I wanted to do this right. For you, for us, for Sophie. His voice shakes slightly. Victoria Ashford. You drove into my life in the back of my car 3 days before Christmas. You were ice and walls, and so alone it hurt to see. And somehow in the space of 3 days that turned into 3 months, that turned into this moment right now, you became everything. You taught me it's okay to hope again. You showed me love doesn't have to be perfect to be real. And you love my daughter, our daughter, like she's your own. Will you marry me? Make this official. Be Sophie's mom and my wife and part of this beautiful, messy, perfectly imperfect life we're building together. Victoria's crying, happy tears streaming down her face. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Ethan slides the ring on her finger, pulls her close, kisses her while Sophie cheers and Charlie barks and other park-goers applaud. We're really doing this, Victoria whispers against his lips. We really are. Sophie throws herself at both of them. Three-person hug that nearly knocks them over. We're a real family now. We've always been a real family, sweetheart, Victoria says. This just makes it official. They spend the afternoon at the beach, building sandcastles, playing in the water, being normal, being happy, being whole. That evening they return to their house to find a car in the driveway. Richard. Victoria tenses. I didn't know he was coming. It's okay. We'll handle it together. Richard steps out of the car. He's aged visibly in the past months. Hair grayer, face softer. The armor he wore for decades finally cracking. I'm sorry for dropping by unannounced. I heard about the engagement, wanted to congratulate you in person. Thank you. Awkward silence. Then Sophie, fearless as always, walks up to him. Are you the grandpa who tried to take me away? Richard flinches. I am, and I was wrong. Profoundly wrong. I'm sorry. Mum says you're trying to be better. Mom. His eyes go to Victoria. Sophie points. Yeah, Victoria's my mum now, and Ethan's my dad. They're getting married. I see. He looks at Victoria, seeing her properly, maybe for the first time. Not as CEO daughter or strategic asset, just as his daughter who found happiness he couldn't provide. Sophie studies him with 7-year-old directness. Are you here to be nice or mean? Nice. I'd like to be nice, if that's okay with everyone. Okay. But if you're mean, Charlie will bite you. He's very protective. Richard almost smiles. I'll remember that. They stand in the driveway. This blended, complicated, beautiful family. Would you like to come in? Victoria asks carefully. For dinner. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti. Sophie's specialty. Richard looks surprised. Moved. I'd like that. Very much. Dinner is awkward, but not terrible. Richard's stiff. Uncomfortable with casual family dynamics. Doesn't know how to interact with a 7-year-old or make small talk with a mechanic. But he tries. Asks Sophie about school. Listens to Ethan talk about work. Doesn't criticize or judge or try to control. Just exists with them. After dinner, Richard pulls Victoria aside. Your mother would be proud. Of this. Of you. Of the family you've built. You think I know. She always wanted this for you. Real love, real connection, real life. He pauses. I was too blind to see it, too scared to lose control long enough to let you find it. You're seeing it now. I am. And I'm trying. To be the father she would have wanted me to be. Victoria's eyes fill. That's all I ever wanted. They hug. Brief. Awkward but real. Progress. When Richard leaves, he stops at his car. Victoria, yes, that $950 job. Best money I never got to control. He drives away, leaving Victoria smiling through tears, leaving her believing that maybe, just maybe, people can change. Even people who've hurt you. Even fathers who've tried to control you your entire life. Maybe everyone deserves a second chance, if they're truly willing to do the work. The wedding is small and perfect, held in their backyard under strings of lights and summer stars, just close friends and the family that matters. Mrs. Huang in the front row crying happy tears, Rosie beside her beaming with pride, Sophie as flower girl taking her job very seriously, Charlie as ring bearer, sort of. The rings are attached to his collar. And Richard, sitting in the second row, not center stage, not controlling, just present, just trying. Victoria wears a simple white dress, nothing designer, nothing expensive, just beautiful. Ethan wears his one suit, the same one from that first night, cleaned and pressed, looking at Victoria like she's the only thing in the world. The officiant barely finishes pronouncing them husband and wife before they kiss to cheers and laughter and barking. At the reception catered by Rosie, naturally, Ethan gives a toast. A year ago, I thought I was just taking a $950 driving job. 3 days, nothing more. Drive a CEO around, collect my paycheck, keep my head down. But then I met Victoria. And she wasn't what I expected. She wasn't just a position or a title. She was a person who was lost and lonely and so hungry for real connection, she didn't even know how to ask for it. These past 18 months, I've watched her become herself. Not the CEO her father wanted. Not the strategic asset the board expected. Just Victoria. Funny, kind, imperfect, loving, real. He raises his glass. To my wife, who taught me that it's never too late to hope again. That broken people can build something beautiful together. That family isn't about blood, it's about showing up every single day and choosing each other. To Victoria. The room echoes. To Victoria. Later, as they dance under the stars, Victoria in Ethan's arms, moving slowly to music, played from someone's phone, she whispers, "Do you ever think about that night? The rain. How close we both were to just staying in our separate worlds every day. I think about how easily I could have driven past. How for 4 years I'd been driving past life itself. I'd given up," Victoria admits, completely given up on ever feeling human again, on ever being seen. I see you now. I know. That's what saved me. They sway together, surrounded by people they love, in the home they built, with the child they're raising together. Sophie's dancing with Richard, both of them awkward, both trying, both laughing when they step on each other's feet. "Look at them," Victoria says. "Progress." Yeah. The song ends. Another begins. Sophie runs over, grabs both their hands. Family dance. They spin together, all three of them, while Charlie barks and chases his tail, and everyone watches this imperfect, beautiful family being themselves. Later, much later, after guests have gone, and Sophie's asleep, and the stars are bright overhead, Ethan and Victoria stand on their back porch. "Happy?" he asks. Deliriously. "No regrets? Not one?" She pauses. "Well, maybe one small regret." "What's that?" "That I didn't find you sooner. That I wasted so many years being someone I wasn't. You found me exactly when you were supposed to, when we were both ready." Victoria leans her head on his shoulder. 3 days. That's all it took to change everything. 3 days and one $950 job I never actually took payment for. Best investment you never made. They stand together looking at the life they've built. Not perfect, not easy, not what either of them planned, but real, and worth every sacrifice, every struggle, every moment of fear and hope and love. Worth everything. Friends, if this story touched your heart the way it touched ours, we hope it reminded you of something important. That true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the love we choose to give and receive. That real family is built on choice, not obligation. And that sometimes the smallest opportunities, a $950 job. A chance meeting, a moment of courage, can open the door to everything that truly matters. If you believe in second chances, if you believe that broken people can build beautiful lives together, please share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that restore your faith in love, family, and new beginnings. Hit that like button if this story moved you, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love hearing from you, because your story isn't over yet. The best chapters might still be waiting to be written, and sometimes all it takes is one moment of courage, one choice to stop and see someone who's invisible, one decision to hope again, to change absolutely everything. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next story.